Thank you, and welcome, President Gilbert Khomboud. It's a real pleasure to have you with us, and we very much appreciate your time for joining us. And apologies for some of the difficulties of working in this virtual world and avoiding Zoom bombing. I think what we'll do, we have everybody online. I think we have nearly 100 participants at the moment, and we did have over 300 registrations. So I think there's a tremendous amount of interest in this. Without further ado, Gilbert, can I hand it to you to welcome us all to this dialogue and to give your thoughts on the future of small-scale agriculture?
Thank you so much. First of all, let me apologize. I've been here listening to you for the last 10 minutes or so, but unfortunately you cannot hear me and you cannot see me, while I can see Jim and hear all the ongoing discussion. So I'm sorry about that. Dear colleagues, allow me to use a few words to welcome you to this first interactive session launching this e-dialogue series on the future of small-scale farmers. If some of you are very much familiar with this, we are quite very pleased to join other partners in bringing greater attention to such an important topics. The role of small-scale producers has always been key to global food security, but now more than ever, with the COVID pandemic disrupting movement, trade, food production, we really need to focus on the small-scale producers and put them at the center of our thinking. And the recent SOFI report, which I'm sure you have already gone through, the recent SOFI report just confirmed why we should do so. The pandemic follows 5 years in which food insecurity was already increasing. But this crisis, if it has revealed one thing, is just how precarious many livelihoods, including those of small-scale producers and other rural people. It is predicted that between 83 and 132 million more people could go hungry as a result of this pandemic in 2020. And because most of the world's poorest people live in rural areas, that is where the threat is greatest. Poor rural people are especially vulnerable and also very marginalized, as we know. The SOFI report states that 57% or more of the population cannot afford a healthy diet throughout sub-Saharan Africa or Southern Asia. Due to high prices, a healthy diet is more than 5 times as costly as a starchy diet that meets only calorie needs. As a result, 3 billion people cannot afford these healthy diets. Let's think a moment about what that number really means, 3 billion. This is a problem of equity and availability as much as of production and productivity. Without an inclusive transformation of our food systems, the most vulnerable people will continue to be left behind. The small-scale producers have the available labor to produce many of the healthy crops needed for a nutritious diet. Increasing healthy food production and market supply will improve producers' own livelihoods and also lower prices of healthy food for everyone. The livelihoods of some 2 to 3 billion of the world's poorest people are still highly connected to producing and selling food. So to succeed, rural transformation needs to be inclusive need to be addressing the specific need of vulnerable groups such as women, youth, indigenous people, people with disabilities, and other vulnerable groups. The COVID-19 crisis demands that we rethink how we can invest in a more sustainable and equitable future. When we consider also the devastating effect of climate change on vulnerable small producers, this agenda is even more pressing. Never has it been more important to build the resilience of rural people, because when crisis strikes, the poor and the vulnerable bear a disproportionate burden. Historically, global recessions and crises have tended to inflict the greatest harm on the poorest and the most vulnerable segment of the society, and this one is no different. The rural people have little margin to weather this crisis. Globally, at the country level and down to the level of local communities, we are all going to have to think creatively about how to design food systems that are economically inclusive, enable good nutrition, and function within environmental limits. With that in mind, I really would like to welcome this e-dialogue as a way to encourage deeper thinking about the future of small-scale agriculture within a transformed food system. We hope to bring together ideas and knowledge from across the world, integrating the experiences of farmers with the insights from the latest research and analysis. The e-dialogue is also timely in that it can contribute to the 2021 Food Systems Summit, which will seek to advance concrete actions to promote equitable access to nutritious food and better livelihood. I would like to thank you for your participation and look forward to the development of the dialogue we are initiating here today. Thank you so much. Over to you.